Happy Valentine's Day, viewers! I may be a jaded soul at times, but these couples allow me to believe again in the power of love. There is a good assortment of couples in this video. Some are canon, and others simply ones I prefer among the choices. And yes, this will be my opinion. If a couple you like is not on this list, it doesn't necessarily mean I dislike them, but it certainly means they aren't among my favorites, or I forgot to include them. There are some games with romances that will not be represented in this video, and those games are the ones where one partner is silent in-game. I think in order to get a fair representation of the relationship, I need to see both sides of the conversations and romancing happening, so unfortunately, Stardew Valley couples will not be making this list. As well, despite the fact that I really like Chrono and Marley together in Chrono Trigger, they also will not make this list. Last thing before we jump in, I will be warning you for what game each couple is from before revealing the couple, so you'll be able to avoid those you don't want spoilers for. And believe me, there are gonna be some spoilers in this video. Without further delay, here are 10 of my favorite video game couples in no particular order. Eliwood and Ninian. Oh, Eliwood and Ninian, the closest thing to a consensus pairing in the Fire Emblem community I think I've ever seen. Even the game itself agrees, giving them the highest per turn support points of all their supports. It's not hard to see why a lot of people, including me, love this pairing. They are incredibly sweet together, starting from the very first moment they're seen together during Lynn's story mode, when Eliwood rescues Ninian from the Black Fang. Like a lot of young couples, they are awkward around each other at first, during the C support especially, and then show growing comfort and familiarity in the B support. Even though that support ends on a sad note, the growing connection between the two is unmistakable. The A support solidifies that bond, with Eliwood showing his strong trust and understanding in Ninian. Now, most of this support mainly has Ninian in an anxious role and Eliwood in an understanding role. But there's also the moment in the B support that shows how engaged Ninian is with Eliwood's talk about his home. All of this makes for one of the sweetest romances in Fire Emblem history. From beginning to end, the growth of their bond is heartwarming, which makes what happens near the end of the game so devastating. That audience investment in their relationship is probably why we accept the Deus Ex Machina to bring her back to life at the end. Eliwood and Ninian for as long as they both shall live. Chris and Katarina. I'm so glad New Mystery had support/base conversations after Shadow Dragon did away with them, because otherwise we wouldn't have gotten this gem of a pair. Chris, the avatar of the game New Mystery, and Katarina, the erstwhile assassin whose redemption arc was one of my favorite parts of the game. Chris and Katarina bonded early in the game as a pair working to become Altean Knights. They teamed up right at the beginning, fighting together to achieve their goals. They grew closer through their training, but Katarina seemed to be holding back information until her betrayal in the attempted assassination of Marth. During the main game, though, Chris routinely tried to find and bring her back, and finally succeeds in Chapter 16X after several conversations. That leads to the support. It is clear early on what Katarina desires from the supports, but Chris, being an almost comically unaware character, doesn't seem to notice. The second conversation is more about Katarina's past and Chris helping her move on from it, which leads to the final support. In it, Chris states that they'll be together. Not in that way, because as I said before, he's unobservant. Then, when he goes to a war meeting, Katarina practices her confession to him. It's sweetly awkward in the best way. When Chris wanders back in, she gets embarrassed and leaves. Unfortunately, they have no paired ending, so I just have to imagine it, but I think she finally gets through to him and they live happily ever after. I'm always up for a good redemption arc, and this one is nicely paired with a one-sided crush arc that I wish had finished with a mutual pairing. They still make it onto this list though, because I believe they were meant to be. Robin and Lissa. Oh, another Avatar character? Well, in this case it helps that as much as Robin is a fairly basic personality, I really relate to him as a character. The second part of this is my personal love for Lissa. But this isn't a pairing of myself and Lissa, this is Robin and Lissa, because I've never been much for pairing myself with fictional characters. With one exception. Their support mainly revolves around Lissa playing pranks on Robin. This already appeals to me because I love little pranks like this. Lissa is adorable throughout the entire thing, and she also shows how much she cares about Robin and his opinion of her. In the C support, she came there to apologize for ruining his rare text. The B support is the massage. She is trying to care for Robin, but each time she feels the need to prank him as well. Why? To me, the explanation is that Lissa is immature with dealing with her feelings, and in order to avoid her real reason for wanting to be around Robin, she pulls pranks. Oh, and also because she's silly. The reason I think this is the case is because in the A support, when Robin threatens to stop talking to her if she continues, she agrees to stop. She cares more about being around Robin than her pranks. Through the support, Robin also learns to be a little less serious, a welcome change from his usual nature. He even pranks her in the later supports. The development of this relationship really touches me. It's a silly romance, but a lot of relationships are, which is why I like Robin and Lissa as a couple. From now on, I can't really go through as many specific conversations as I did for the Fire Emblem games, but I'll do my best to give as much detail as possible in support of my favorite relationships in each of the games to be talked about. Estelle and Joshua. Estelle and Joshua as a pairing had a major hill to climb with me, which is my hatred of the trope of pseudo-siblings falling in love. They managed to overcome that through a truly wonderful set of writing in these poignant moments. Examples being the dock and especially the reunion beach scene that showed the progress of going from friends to in a relationship. Their ability to understand each other despite their differences is inspiring, and their romance is a reflection of how Estelle, especially, has matured as a protagonist and person throughout the games. Yes, the Westermark effect is a thing. The reality, though, is that I think neither Joshua nor Estelle really saw each other as siblings. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Estelle manages to break through to the stoic but emotionally vulnerable Joshua through her earnestness and emotional intelligence, a combination of traits that I didn't think possible when I first met Estelle in game. Their pairing is one of the strongest arcs in the entire Trail series, which is littered with great arcs. Taking that romance out would detract much from the overall story, which is a strong reason why it is among my favorite video game romances. Also, they're a great couple, supporting and complementing each other, while also improving themselves as distinct individuals. Rean and Elisa. Anyone who saw my Elisa video probably saw this one coming, but I believe Rean and Elisa are the best couple in Trails of Cold Steel, and before the mob comes to burn me at the stake, I'll explain why I think that way. Rean, adopted son of a noble family born of commoner blood, not at home with either group because of his differences, and Elisa, wealthy daughter heiress of the biggest company in Erebonia, shunned by commoners for her wealth and nobles for her common blood. Elisa understands Rean in ways no other character can, and vice versa. The outcasts of the noble commoner divide finding solace and comfort in each other is a beautiful story. Sure, it got off to a rocky and tropey start, but it evolved into a great romance for both. Their relationship afforded them greater strength in tough moments, from Elisa's worries about her mother to Rean's fight with his sister. Every time they needed strength and support, the other was there to help them pick themselves up and keep going. Their reunion in the second game showed just how strong their connection is, and I can't wait to see how they develop together in Cold Steel 3 and beyond. Alicia and Welkin. Alicia and Welkin are passionate, caring people fighting for the future of their home country. Fighting so that the people after them don't need to fight, sacrificing their own dreams to protect the people unable to stand up and fight the Empire. Is it no wonder they're an amazing couple? The nature nerd son of a famous general and military strategist, and the head of the Town Watch, insanely powerful in-game unit, and amazing baker. Together, they pretty much stopped the Empire. Alicia especially with her Valkyria powers, which make her one of the most powerful people in the world. And yet, when the fighting is done, they bring joy to people through their true loves, teaching, baking, and each other. As Alicia says, neither did Welkin, but something positive came out of it. In war, there is still life that can bloom and flourish, and in this case, it was a strong relationship based off mutual respect and understanding. The epilogue showing them happy back in Brule is just so precious, and oh, their daughter Isara. I've been trying not to cry during recording, but this might do it. Claude and Riley. Valkyria Chronicles 4 was not just a great follow-up to Valkyria Chronicles in terms of gameplay, but also in terms of romance. Claude and Riley have many of the same qualities that I loved about other couples on this list. They obviously had a rough going at the beginning of the game because of Riley still blaming Claude for her family's deaths. That made the progression of Riley realizing her blame of Claude was unfair, and Claude showing he's not the same person as he was then, all the more rewarding. Their childhood bond is easy to see, and the reconciliation they go through allows the moments when they talk about non-war related things to shine. It's clear how much they grow to care and respect one another, aided by Kai and Raz. Claude is extremely supportive of Riley's desires to follow in the path of her father in Ragnite development, and Riley goes from one of Claude's harshest critics to one of his most ardent supporters. It is a good arc that I was invested in throughout the game, which made the normal ending devastating, and the special ending one of the happiest endings I've ever experienced in a video game. Seriously, the Valkyria Chronicles series knows how to end a video game in a way that makes me bittersweetly happy. Geralt and Triss. If the mob wasn't coming for me before, they certainly are now. This choice may be the most controversial, but don't get me wrong, the romances in The Witcher are seriously amazing, including Geralt and Yennefer and also Geralt and Shani. But in the end, I will pick Geralt and Triss over all the others. The books may have had Geralt and Yen as the main pairing, but for the games, Geralt and Triss were the main pairing for 2 games and a possible choice for the 3rd. Both Geralt and Triss are among the most compassionate characters in the game, at least the way I play Geralt, and are prepared to sacrifice much to combat the injustice of the world. Their fierce loyalty to each other is great to see, and it truly is a battle couple. They've weathered so many storms together, each one has managed to rescue the other when in dire straits, and their bond was forged in fire. They're each other's strength and restraint, highlighting the best parts of each character. They're just as comfortable together on the battlefield as they are relaxing once all the fighting is over. And after all they've gone through, it feels good to see them at peace eventually as a truly happy couple. Revan and Bastila. I love teasing relationships, and in this case, the player gets to be the easygoing goof while Bastila Shan serves as our serious partner. This relationship, transgressive as it may be in the Star Wars universe, is the light that brings Bastila back from the dark side. Bastila's cool and severe exterior breaking into a truly kind and caring person is a wonderful development, and this romance is the ultimate love redeems arc. For both characters, frankly. Besides, Bastila getting flustered is amazing to watch, and Revan showing her a life and way outside of the rigidity of the Jedi Order is a good arc for this game. It suits the overall brilliance of the story by showing a romance in the Star Wars universe that doesn't lead to horrible events. Anakin and Padme. Revan and Bastila may not have had a lot of time as a couple in-game, but the moments that did happen showed how strong their bond was. Revan and Karth. The second romance of Knights of the Old Republic, because the regular edition unfortunately cut out the romance with Juhani, involves our widower Karth. Like with Bastila, Karth is closed off emotionally due to the death of his wife and son in the betrayal of Saul Kareth, showing Karth that there is a reason to go on in life, that his goal of revenge, powerful though it is, will not be enough to sustain a real life, is an important storyline. Karth has had an understandably hard time trusting anyone after being betrayed, and Revan's romance with him will test his resolve over and over, mainly due to the reveal that the player character is Revan. Hey, I did warn you about spoilers. However, the romance makes Karth a better person, willing to forgive past actions and able to open up again, not just to love, but to hope and friendship. Karth emerges from the other side as a changed man, for the better, and the renewal he undergoes is frankly inspiring at times. No matter how deep a depression goes, with time and trust it can heal and love can once again grow. And there you have it, 10 video game couples that give me hope in romance and love in general. There are so many great video game romances out there, and I'm sure y'all have your favorites too, so let me know who your favorite couples are down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like on it, share it with your friends, especially the single ones who need some romantic hope in their lives, and subscribe for more content. Have a great Valentine's Day, or whatever day you're watching this, and happy gaming.